Okay, now you know what the reason is you should start a business and the personality. Let's start talking about personal risk. The risk you're taking on as a person starting a business. Maybe you're working right now and you have a steady paycheck. Can you afford to lose that paycheck? Think about that. Every time you get a paycheck, you know it's going to clear. You know it's going in your bank. You got direct deposit, you might not even see it. You just know it's going to be there. You start a business, you don't know when you're going to get a paycheck. You really have no idea when your first paycheck's going to come in. Mine took about a year when I started mine. You have no idea. It could be 3 years, could be 8 months. You have no idea. That is really unstable if you think about it. And that's something you really need to consider. And then how hard it is to find a job if you leave the work for 2 years, right? Say you take your business for 2 years, it doesn't work out, you want to go back in. If you're in tech or something, the whole world has changed. How marketable will your skills be if you had a failed business to go back into the workplace? What if you got seniority? What if you have 4 weeks vacation, 5 weeks vacation? You got the corporate spending account, whatever it is. Think about those things that you're going to have to give up. And sometimes managers, they don't want to hire ex-entrepreneurs. They don't think we'll listen to people, or we got our ideas of ourselves, or maybe we're a threat to them because we want to try to run our own business. Don't forget about loss of health benefits. Think about that. If you're at a place that has good health care, health benefits can be $550 to $2,000. Depends how many people you have in your family, how good a health care you want. The other thing with individual plans, which I learned the hard way, is if you do have a couple claims, your rates go through the roof. If you're in a huge group right now and you have a couple claims, your rates probably won't change that much. So you really, really need to consider that, the health and well-being of your family and what's going to happen. God forbid something happens to someone in your family. A loss of paid vacation. You go on vacation now, maybe you get a text or something like that from the office. However, your check clears and you're getting paid, and that's good. If you go on a vacation when you're an entrepreneur and it's early on, you leave on Thursday. Let's say you take Thursday and Friday off. You come back Monday. Well, Monday's your new Thursday because you got to go back and do whatever was done, because nothing gets done while you're gone. So there's no such thing as, I'm going to take a paid vacation, or I'm going to go relax. It just doesn't work that way out when you're starting. You plan on not taking a vacation for 3 to 5 years. I'm talking about a real vacation. You may go away for a weekend or go to a wedding or something like that, but a real, hey, I'm going to go on vacation and just relax and enjoy myself. Forget about it. Think about losing your investment. So whatever money you need to put in to start your business, think about losing that investment. You probably worked years for that. It might be your 401k, it might be savings, it might be family pitching in. Think about what happens if that money gets lost. Does that change lives? Is it a life-changing amount of money if you lose that money? Remember, 80% of businesses fail and they lose 100% of the money, if not more. Sometimes people close down and they're in debt. They got credit card debt. They did all kinds of things they weren't supposed to do. They didn't pay their vendors. The vendors are going to come after them and sue them. You have to really, really consider what happens. What are the consequences if it goes under? There's no other investment in the world. If someone came to you, your broker said, hey, listen, I got some, why don't you invest in this, and you got an 80% chance of losing everything. Nobody would do it. It's crazy. What about what your money would have been worth in 5, 10, or 20 years? Let's assume you had, let's say $5,000 and you invested it. What would it be worth in 10, 15, 20 years? So not only losing 100% of your money, losing over 100% of your money, because it would be growing if it was in a regular 401k. And then sometimes you get to the point and say, listen, I got $20,000 I'm going to invest in my business. Well, you get to the $20,000 mark and you're seeing signs of hope, but you need another 10. What are you going to do? It's very, very emotional. Oh my God, should we take in more of our savings? Should we ask mom or dad? Should we ask a brother? It's a very emotional thing when you're spending your own money. When you're part of the corporate world and you're spending someone else's money, let's just buy this piece of equipment and let's hope it works. So let's do this. When you're actually grabbing money out of your savings and you're driving to the bank or whatever it is, it's a much more emotional decision. Money's a safety net. We all need a safety net. Things can happen that we don't see. What happens if you're part of the 80% and your safety net's gone? What's going to happen to you? Could you lose your home? Could you lose your cars? Are your kids young? Are they going to have to move and go to a different school? These are things you really need to consider. You got to sit down with your family and talk about some of these personal risks. And how much do you have in reserves? Let's assume you make a salary of $50,000, and let's assume you have $100,000 in reserves, which would be nice. Okay, that'll get you by for 2 years of current lifestyle without changing. Now remember, you're going to spend money. You're going to be investing money into your company. That that window of 2 years could shrink to 1 very quickly if you got rid of half of it. Plus, the mortgage doesn't care. The electric company doesn't care if you're starting a business and you can't pay your bills. So if something goes wrong in your business, you have to understand what is the impact of losing your money. You have to sit down with your spouse and really, really discuss this part of the business. This is where the rubber meets the road. If you wear out all your savings, you could be in a totally different lifestyle. So you really need to sit down and consider all this. It's a 3 to 5 year sacrifice on your family and friends. Business is like a baby. When you decide, I'm incorporating, you just had a child, and it needs to be fed, it needs to be changed, it means your number one priority. It cries constantly, it cries 24/7, you got to change the diapers immediately. Think like if you have a problem, which is like changing the diapers, you got to get on it right here and now. If it's Saturday at 4 o'clock and there's a problem, sometimes you may not work 7 days a week, but your customers do. And if they got a problem on Saturday, they don't care that you're out to dinner. One time, this is a true story, I was actually at Disneyland. I was very early in the business, and I got a call that we had a problem with the customer. Back this days, I was a payphone. I dialed the 800 number. I was talking to the customer. I was outside a Small World at Disney. It was my first vacation. That's what you have to have the commitment. And my family's like, "What are you doing? What do you mean you're on the phone? We're on vacation." They didn't understand that. So I had to handle this problem. It was a big customer I thought we were going to lose. Though you have to be prepared to do that. And you can't hate every second of that. You got to say, "Hey, this is part of what I signed up for." That's the way it is. When it's a non-business owner, when you don't own the business, you might say, I'll call that guy when I get back, or I'll call that guy next Tuesday, or I'll send him a text, "Hey, I'm out on vacation, I'll get back with you next week." When you're signing the back of the check, which means you work for somebody else, you have a different perspective. When you sign the front of the check, so you're signing the front of the check for your own paycheck, right? That's really what you're doing. You have to have a different approach to everything, because everything you do costs money. Every mistake you make costs money. You're signing more of the front of the checks. We talk about going out and doing sales, right? It takes 10 to 15 sales calls to get a customer. You got to make 10 to 15 sales calls to make a customer. Think how much time that takes. You're not going to do them in 10 or 15 days, right? You do a call, you got to wait a week, you don't want to smother your customer. So you have to realize how much it takes just to acquire a customer that doesn't probably want to talk to you because they never heard of you. What happens if your customer's going to bankruptcy? I've had that many times. You kind of think to yourself, they're solid, or this works, or they got a good D&B or whatever credit check you did on them. Trust me, things can change overnight in business for you and your business and for your customers. A lot of customers are entrepreneurs. Right? You have to realize that things can change overnight, and if a customer goes bankrupt, you're out that money. Also, you're going to eventually get to the point where you got employees. Well, employees don't totally care the way you care sometimes. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. Everything will land on you. If an employee makes a mistake, you're going to call the customer. If an employee bills someone the wrong thing, you're going to call the customer. If an employee doesn't put an order in and something doesn't ship or whatever it is, customer complaints will all land on you 100% of the time. Because a lot of times they're used to you because you started the business. They're going to want to talk to you. It's your baby. Everything ends up on you. That's it. Then you got to think to yourself, well, what about like family events, concerts, or baseball games, or proms, or birthdays and stuff? You're going to miss some of those. You have to accept it. Your family has to be willing to say, okay, I understand that daddy's not coming to the play, or mommy's not coming to the play, or whatever it is. They have to understand that you have a commitment to the business and you need to get it running. Dinner, eating at 5 o'clock every day, going to movies on weekend, exercising. Sometimes you're going to be so exhausted coming home from work, mentally exhausted, you're not going to want to exercise. This is exhaustion when you're starting a business. You are mentally drained. You're not going to want to go home and jump on the treadmill or go to the exercise like you might do now. You will be exhausted. There's a lot of stress. The worst thing people say on your body is stress. We've been told that time and time again, you got to reduce stress. You got to reduce stress. There's a lot of stress in starting a business, whether you're good at it or not good at it. Even successful businesses are unbelievably stressful. And when you're stressed, you might be short at home. You might yell at your kids when you really shouldn't have. You might get upset at something stupid. It just happens because you're under stress, right? You need to find time to reduce stress. You need to find ways to do that. And generally, by the time you get home, you're exhausted. How about eating? I used to, when I started, I was road tripping every week. I used to get 2 donuts and chocolate milk every morning. That's what I did. Fast food for lunch. By the time it was dinner time, I had fast food and I fell asleep. I'd be asleep 8 o'clock in a hotel room, completely exhausted. The impact on health is very, very significant. You have to be prepared for that. You have to understand that sometimes you're not going to have time to do this because your business is all consuming. Very, very important part. You need to discuss that with your family. So now you understand the right reason for starting a business, the right personality, the type E, the risk. We just did the personal risk. We're going to go into business risk and all other types of risks, right? You need to sit down and really evaluate, am I up for this? Is my family up for this? Do I have the complete 100% support of everybody that surrounds me? My friends, family, all these folks need to be 100% supportive of you. Because if not, as soon as you get into it and say, oh, you're missing this, or why can you do that, or call that customer later, your business is going to be more geared towards the 80% instead of the 20%. And if everybody understands that going in, then you have a much better chance of success. Thank you. This is one of the most important modules you're going to have from a standpoint of your personal life. Okay, when you start the business, your family needs to understand, and you need to understand how this is going to affect you, how it's going to affect your family, your spouse, your children. Okay, sometimes I'd be having breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever it was, and I would get this, hey, are you with us? And I really wasn't with them. My children would be saying something to me. I was under stress from starting the business, right? I was thinking about the business. I was consumed with the business, and I missed out on some of my family events. And I think your spouse and your family has to really understand, hey, this is going to be an impact on all of us, especially for the first 3 to 5 years. Are we really prepared for this? You know, sometimes it's a great decision to say, you know what, maybe I'll wait till the kids get a little bit older, or maybe I'll wait until I'm a different part of my life, or part of my life where my family can handle this. Right now, my family needs me. They need me. I have maybe a special needs child or something else that your family really needs you. They have to understand the impact on you, your health, your family's health, your personal lives. It's a tremendous burden on everybody. And it's something you need to sit down and talk with your family thoroughly, and so everybody understands the risk that you're getting involved with, because it really does take the whole family to get an entrepreneur to have a successful business. Thank you.